How in some of these African countries they have genital mutilation of these young women.
Yeah.
Girls,
Oh, yeah.
How, what terrible problems they have after that.
Sure.
Are they living in? I'm assuming that they're living in a society that's honor shame, or very either primitive, tribal, or whatever.
Either both, primitive, tribal, or honor shame, collectivistic. Mostly collectivistic, probably.
So these women, in addition to having, pain and whatever, they're probably shamed and outcast from their communities.
Yes. If there are a group of women right now, I believe it's in a region in Nigeria where they're being, very young women being raped repeatedly, and then they're left in hospital wards. They're incontinent, and no one wants to claim them because they were raped, meaning that their males and their family could not defend them. Horrible, horrible, horrible. What we take for granted here is, the lack of sensitivity. It's yeah, Mary.
On a more positive note, I found that when you were talking about John chapter 5,
Yeah,
that command almost that each one should try to outdo one another in honor, and that whole idea of the Gospel of John, where we're adopted grafted into the family of Christ and the Father. It's almost as though it's saying that all have equal honor and they have the highest honor. And that is why it's okay to try to outdo one another rather than to expect one to have higher honor than another lower and another lower within the group.
yeah. Yeah, Paul is.
Would the son have just as much honor as the father, and then the second-born son have just as much honor as the first?
The father, the pater familias, always has more honor than everybody. The firstborn son has.
So to outdo one another and honoring one another what does that say?
Yeah, you're presenting your body continuously, the Jesus group at Rome, as an honorable society, as an honorable family, as an honorable group. That's just advice Paul's getting. That's like something you tag on, like season's greetings. That literally, in that culture, that is just something everybody would say. And they would expect it to be said.
Regardless of the honor that they were born with, they now have an ascribed honor from their relationship with Jesus.
Yeah, actually they have, it could be argued, acquired honor.
A born again.
Yeah, no, you're right. They have an ascribed.
Yes.
They have a new ascribed honor because they have a new existence.
Even if they came from the streets.
Yeah. How well that theology was, well, you read Romans 6, right? Romans 6, we die and we rise in Christ in baptism. Definitely seems to be a little bit also in John when he's talking to Nicodemus about being born anothen, must be born of water and spirit and all that. Interesting. But to Nicodemus, who had such a high social status, why would I want to lose that to join these peasants? Yes?
You talked about honor being a limited good in first century Mediterranean world.
Right.
Is that still a similar concept in modern collectivistic culture?
Absolutely. In any peasant society anywhere on earth, all goods are limited. And that includes the way they theologize. Because all theology is analogy. And all analogy is rooted in human experience. And all human experience is culturally specific. So I want you to think about this. You get a group of Pentecostals that are United States people. Okay? Charismatic Christians. When they theologize too, and they do, they theologize from American culture, which believes in limitless goods. Right? Right? Now imagine these Pentecostals and charismatic Christians going down to a peasant society and evangelizing them. Right? That's going to be very interesting what's going to happen. Is it any wonder why we have Joel Osteen and people like him in our society? Peasant societies cannot produce a Joel Osteen, folks. Now, which did the Bible come from? Did the Bible come from American society, or did it come from peasant society? So understand that, like, God's love is a limited, in the Bible, we're not fundamentalists, okay? It's a limited thing. I have loved Jacob, but I have hated Esau. Right? We later come to understand that God is infinite and all that, but that took time. Yes?
To follow up what Dave just said, if all this acquired honor is being bestowed upon this Jesus group,
Yeah.
John, then where is that, if honor is limited, where are these members taking honor from? The Judeans?
Oh no, that's great. They're not, okay, so, right, because any gain is considered a loss.
Lost for someone.
The operative idea is that in theocracy, there is a restoration of honor back to its proper place with no more and no less. So the idea is that these peasants who belonged to Jesus had already had their honor taken from them by unjust elites who were saying things with their mouths but doing things differently with their actions. They were actors. And I just told you that actors, hypocritai, actors, mask wearers, are one of those people that are considered shameless. They have no honor. So what the theocracy is going to do, and it's coming any day now, what the theocracy is going to do is turn the tables. It's not going to give superabundant honor on people from a new source. All that was distributed at creation. What God is going to do is restore and renew the face of the earth.
So by honoring one another, they're co-workers with God.
Right.
And giving God all the honor.
They're supposed to be, yeah. But it's also anything any Mediterranean group would do to try to look honorable. To look honorable, you don't want to try to steal honor from other people, do you? No. Right. So you're doing that, and you're honoring the other person, Mary. Outdo one another is in honor, right? What does that mean? That means I'm honoring my neighbor. I'm putting them above myself. They're putting me above myself. If a whole group does that, you're looking pretty good, right? In that world. Everybody's great and it's kosher. Now, the biggest thing is disunity. If you want to talk about what the New Testament communities, and this is including the Johannine Jesus group, are all obsessed with, it's threats to the unity. Threats to the unity. Because that visibly looks very shameful. That's saying we're the Jesus group, so this is Jesus. A big, imagine somebody taking a chainsaw to the body of Christ. That's what it looks like. That looks like Christ is not believable to me, right? Doesn't look like he's really the Messiah. But if we're united, how do we stay united as Mediterranean people? We keep the peace. How do we keep the peace? Well, we got to keep away from shame, don't we? And behave honorably. We would need a different kind of healing as chimera Christians in the West. Anybody else? Yes, Lucy.
I had a question. When we're talking about the three cultural groups like anxiety, shame, and guilt.
Right.
Okay. I mean, we can say guilt is the Westerners, way of looking at things.
No society has zero of the other two.
Right.
There's a little bit of shame here, but not. It's vague, and there's anxiety in all human beings, but it's almost always articulated as guilt. Go ahead.
What tribal? Could you give me
Aborigines.
Because I was little.
Aborigines that go back 50,000 years in their cultural arrangement. That's an example. Certain indigenous tribes in the Americas, and when it's a little more structured, you have collectivism. Individualism, very recent. It comes about because you have people in situations where they can travel like 80 to 800 miles outside of their living place because of transportation and communication technology. They can look at situations differently from various different perspectives. This has a way of developing a meta-self, a commentator on oneself, and a psychological kind of abyss thing happens where you start, because any human could do it if they were put into that situation, but very few humans have been put into that situation. And so you start developing and having to develop internal sanctions of control.
Yeah, it's not like
And sociopathology too, which also happens.
Combination going on.
No. Yeah, what it is it's the accidents. Okay, so culture, what does culture get shaped by? The environment.
Right.
We respond to our environment because of energy needs. Life, like matter and energy, tends to find the least, be able to use the least amount of work to get by in a particular, the grooves and contours of the world and environment around us. So if I live in the Mediterranean world, the land is kind of the same, the resources are kind of the same. That's why we're going to grow wine. We're going to have small animals, domestic animals to keep, right? We're going to try to use those animals to the best efficiency. And we're all going to behave, whether we're in Spain or Portugal or Italy or Greece or the Levant or Morocco, North Africa, Egypt. We're all going to kind of behave while having individual little twerks. We're all going to have the same values in that area because we all belong to a cultural continent. In the United States, we belong to the Baltic cultural continent, which kind of includes the Northern Europeans and Canada and the United States. And that area, we have a different environment and we have a different way about us, and we have the benefits of Enlightenment and Industrial Revolution stuff. So that gives us individuals. Now, in the ancient world, you had people like Caesar, you had Socrates, you had certain people that were on the high parts of this vertical society who did enjoy certain pleasures and didn't have to struggle to live. Those people tended to be quasi-individualists. And when we read their writings, it's much easier to see individualism in them than in others. But they're not really fully, truly individuals either. They're quasi-individuals. Here's another part. You look at Diogenes, the cynic, who lives homeless, is a shameless person. Also on that end of the spectrum, the expendables, people who don't care about honor anymore and who are about to die, they also would be kind of quasi-individualistic too. But Jesus was neither of these, was he? He was a peasant in the low but middle, and so he's a collectivist. It's important not to make Jesus an individualist. Does that help explain? When you get people en masse doing this, like in the post-industrial times, you have individualism expanding, and you have individualists and introspective individualism en masse, and the literature starts getting produced that's very introspective, right? Jane Austen, Mark Twain, Herman Melville. Okay, I can go on and on with this. All of this is, notice, when does all that start coming? All that starts coming when you have individualism, introspective individualism. Yes, sir?
Would you say, would this be a way of characterizing it, that those at the very top have almost nothing to gain because they have it all?
Right.
Those at the bottom
Caesar.
have almost nothing to lose.
That's right.
And those in the middle have everything to gain and lose.
Right, and it's
Whether it's honor, shame, whatever. Fall in
I would say that, yeah. I would say that's a beautiful way of putting it. And that's why in ancient society, in the vertical society of Herodian Palestine, you had quasi-individualists at the bottom, maybe 10%, at the top, maybe 2%. But everybody in the middle, very poor and put down, and even the retainers who are not poor, those are still collectivistic. Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting,
You read
yeah.
about early American history, when settlers settled into groups. If an individual didn't hold the same ideals, they would leave the group or they would be pushed out of the group.
Yes.
That faded after time. But
We still have ways of excluding people,
yeah.
but, and including people.
But it was very harsh.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't find another group where you felt you belonged, you were on your own.
No matter how individualistic a society gets, we always have groups and group belonging. Individualism doesn't mean there's no group existence. That's why it's very important to understand. Bill, what do you mean? I've experienced anxiety. Okay, everybody experiences anxiety as being human in that sense of the word. But anxiety, vague, unstructured, is what mostly tribal people experience. The more socialized you are into collectivism, anti-introspective collectivism, and with its structures of honor and shame, you're going to experience anxiety as shame. Primarily shame, which is different. And in individualism with introspective thought, you're going to experience guilt. And that's why it's so important to recognize, if you think guilt, if you think David is guilty when he sings Psalm 51, see you later, brother, then you got a problem, right? You're projecting your ideas onto, I've already kept you guys too late. You're projecting your ideas onto the psalmist, and you're misunderstanding him. You're distorting him. Hey, thanks for watching. Just continue the playlist for the next part of the study. If you have further questions, this is good. They will get addressed, so keep watching. If you found value, please subscribe, like, and share. As always, questions, comments, and criticisms are most welcome. God bless you.